Okay, my name is Brandon Bing. I'm a grazing specialist with NRCS. I work in the Palestine field office, which is one county to the east here, but I cover the 21 counties of northeast Texas for anything with grazing operations. A quote that comes to mind about this day that has really started me on a different journey in agriculture, which is the same journey you are all on, just for being here and listening to these speakers, is one by Wendell Berry. He said, "If I could change something, if I could change something about the way you do agriculture, what would it be?" And I'm butchering the quote, but it's there is a God and you are not Him, and that very much rings true to living systems, and that's what we're here to learn more about: is how to manage living systems, to treat them like living systems, and then co-steward with someone who put that in motion. So what we've got here are two different soils. One of them's from right here in the grazing paddock, where the Dexter cattle were. This is some Bahia Grass. Sorry, Miss Betsy, we use the Bahia Grass, but it does have value for forage, and it does have value for soil cover, and that's what this demonstration is going to show. We got this soil. It's the same exact inherent soil properties, same soil name, taxonomy. It's from a very close area, but they manage a little bit differently. You may have seen it on the drive-in this morning. They're getting it ready to plant winter wheat. They'll run stockers out there. They do it every year, and they've done it at least since I've been living here in Oakwood for my life. Very productive soil, but rainfall and rainfall events happen very differently with that soil cover relative to this soil cover. And Christine, if you would, this is a 1-inch rainfall event. This is what would happen. So we're already seeing some runoff pretty quickly. See the bottom? This is infiltration. This is what we're putting in our bank. This is what's going to the pond. This is what's going to the bar ditch. This is going to Houston. This is flooding Houston. So what's the goal? We want to catch every single raindrop that we are bestowed with. And our stewardship should reflect that. We infiltrated about 5 drops. And it probably went from the side because this thing is a shrink and swell clay, and so it kind of shrunk up this morning because it was dry. And so it probably went in the sides, because what this does is it makes a tabletop compaction area as soon as that water starts hitting it, and it starts shedding water. So there's that 1-inch rainfall. We filled the pond up.
And look at the clarity of the water too. So it's not infiltrating, but it's also eroding.
I was going to show them the bottom here. Notice all the root systems there. That's what's taking those raindrops down into the profile. That's where we want to capture that rain. See all the roots? And Betsy already talked about how much better we could make this. But look how much we captured just in rainfall. That's what we call effective rainfall. So it doesn't matter if you got 1.5 inches of rain if it all did this, right? Which is why in another week he's going to be saying, "Man, we need some rain." Well, you don't do good things with it when you get it. As far as inherent soil properties, that's what part of my job is to look at the soil, look at the physical features of it. Like Betsy talked about, look at those. We like to dig a shovel slice. That's the most valuable thing you can do, is go dig a hole. See what's out there. Look at how it breaks apart. We really like this up top where we call it cottage cheese or chocolate cake. See the really fine aggregation? That's what we'd like to see, just all the way down through the profile. The further we can get that finer aggregation down, the more effective we'll be. And one of the best places I've ever seen, there's a gentleman here today. Jonathan, where are you? Jonathan Cobb in the back. He's out of Temple there, and I've got the opportunity to visit his farm. And he had, I think at the time, 8% organic matter on some fields. Well, he had chocolate cake, way down in the profile. So just a tremendous amount of carbon that he has put in that system. And it's functioning on all cylinders, and it sounds like it's really reaping benefits now. According to Jonathan, he's got a tall grass prairie again. So that's pretty neat, and that's what Christine's goal is. So management is going to be very key. Yes, ma'am? Prairie chickens, okay. Okay, I did not know that. This soil, like Miss Betsy talked about, this is from the northwest field that y'all drove next to when you entered the property. That's a little better looking stuff. You notice the darker color, that's a higher organic matter soil. Look at the root systems going further down. We're going to get really good infiltration. We're going to capture every rainfall event that occurs. And that's what we're after, even with the Bahia Grass. So we would like to see plant succession taking place, but overall for Christine's property here, in the context of what's happened here historically with this being farmed to cotton years and years and years, because it was a good soil type inherently, she's overcoming a lot of compaction issues and previous history, but the plant diversity is going to take her there, like Ms. Ross just pointed out. That's all I have. Oh, I was going to show you a very handy tool. Everybody's got a piece of 6-inch pipe in their garage somewhere. So you can take this and drive it into the soil and pour a predetermined amount of water on it. We use 444 milliliters. That simulates a 1-inch rainfall on a 6-inch diameter. And we can time how long it takes for that 1 inch to go in the ground. So just because you don't have a nice rainfall simulator, everybody can do this. And it's a great indicator. Test the place that you think would be the best. Compare it to the place that you think would be the worst. And probably the most enlightening, Jimmy Down and I, he's here today too. We did this the other day for a full day and just tested all kinds of theories. But the one that won was a cow pie. We set it right on a cow pie, an old senescent cow pie, and it infiltrated the fastest. Number 2 was the fence line itself. So that's where we see a lot of prairie grasses sometimes in that bar ditch that hadn't been disturbed and only gets mowed once a year. So it's pretty fascinating. It gives you a really quick metric for what maybe your top end is. If you go to that fence row that hadn't been farmed, do an infiltration study, and then get out there where you're managing, there's your plane of success right there that you can shoot for.
So you did the infiltration test here. How long did it take?
It took about an hour for 1 inch of rainfall to infiltrate this, but that was a day after we got the 1.5 inches. 444 milliliters. Sorry for the metric, I didn't convert it. But I'll demonstrate how to set this up. You just need a hammer and a block. You are supposed to put a saran wrap over it and pour the water into the saran wrap, but I don't know any ranchers that are going to do that, so I don't do that either. You would start your timer. Simple as that. So everybody can do something like this, even if it's a piece of 6-inch Schedule 40. That's a pretty easy, good indicator of not only the physical properties, but as we learned a while ago, it's all connected. So we're talking about physical, chemistry, and biology all wrapped up in this one metric. So that's pretty vital, and it's easy for anybody to do. Any questions? Well, it's very dependent upon your soil texture. So there's good ranges for sands, there's good ranges for loams, and there's good ranges for clay. When Jimmy and I did this the other day on what we considered to be some pretty sandy country, because it was so dry, the soil almost started acting hydrophobic, and so it set on top of sand. You wouldn't never dream it, but it did. So it was pretty fascinating to experiment with.
Wait.
What I was saying is I think it's more important what your change is in the same area over time. So it's a relative thing that would be what you're looking for.
Right. Keep it relative to the day even. I mean, if we sample here right now and we compare it to the fence row and then we compare it to the plowed field, apples to apples, just like that. So that's where this is valuable in a snapshot in time. Even the seasonality with the moisture in the soil, you're going to get different numbers. Because had we been on that sand at Jimmy's and tested it when it was pretty moist, that it would have went in pretty quick. So keep it very relative to even that time frame if you can, or soil moisture. Yes, sir. Oh, sorry.
Well, first off, first time I saw a test like this was at the Bamberger Ranch in Central Texas in the 90s, and it blew me away because, 20 minutes in, water was still percolating through those healthy soils. But do you show ranchers around here? Do you carry that around and show it to them? I mean, I just wonder, what that neighboring, I mean, do people's eyes open? Yeah.
Wait.
Sorry. The Rainfall Simulator is one of the most powerful demonstration tools out there for showing how to manage our soils. It is a big eye-opener, especially you start talking about flooding and soil erosion and what comes with something like that.
I'm from Houston, and it's the first time I've ever seen that, and I'm in commercial real estate. And, they're all talking about building detention ponds. Let's talk about that out on the prairies.
Amen. And they're doing that. Actually, Miss Betsy, she may get to speak on that later, but she showed me a study last night in Houston on the prairies where they're doing infiltration tests right now to monitor it, see what we're at, and can we make it better. So you may need to get with Miss Betsy, it sounds like, on that.
So to add to that, Miss Betsy is working with a landscape architect, and they do a lot of the drainage ditches, and they actually put the microbe compost tea that Betsy makes. And they had just done a canal, and a big storm came through. Those trees that had just been recently planted, not even a month, were still standing up, where other ditches that had been done at the same time, the trees were gone. The erosion had gone, the dirt had gone. It was amazing. Good. Okay, so are you done? Okay. Oh, yeah. So Brandon has very kindly brought some grazing sticks. He will be happy to show you how to use it. It's a very good tool, not only to measure how much pasture you have out there, but to prod animals that might not want to go. Sometimes you have to prod your partner a little bit too. But we're going to take a break, in a 10-minute break for you to go get water, go to the bathroom, sit down, rest your legs, and then we'll be back out here again with Wayne. Okay? Thank you.